For all you negative Nellies out there, and I know your numbers are legion, I'm going to share with you some wonderful, wonderful info that maybe might get you to think, maybe things aren't so bad after all. Now, look, I'm not going to change Jeremy Grantham or what's his name, Harvey Dent or Harry Dent or any of these negative, or Peter Schiff, these naysayers. They're always going to be negative Nellies. I get that. For the common person, though, going by day to day with his or her life, who's worried about a huge recession, or that money GPS guy on YouTube worried about this huge recession coming, we're all going to be eating, I don't know, snails for protein. Let's talk about this. So this is the BEA, the Bureau of Economic Analysis, and this is the first initial estimate for GDP in 2018. It was released about 3 weeks ago, February 2019. So what happens is they usually release the first one in January 30th, and they release a finalized one in February. Because the government shut down, they just basically push it back a month. So the first one is February, and we'll find out the updated estimates based on more complete data in March. So basically, let's go down, and we're just going to show you something. Here's what they say for GDP. 2018, real GDP so far increased 2.9%. I've seen other analysis that said 3.1, so we'll just split the difference and say 3%. So that's up from the 2017 level to the 2018 level, compared with an increase of 2.2% in 2017. So 2.2 in 2017, 2.9, we're going to say 3 in 2018. That's a move in the right direction. The increase in real GDP in 2018 reflected primarily the positive contributions from the PCE, non-residential fixed investment, exports, federal government spending, because we're still spending a heck of a lot of money, private inventory investment, state and local government spending, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I do want to talk about right here. Current dollar GDP increased 5.2%, or $1 trillion in 2018, to a level of $20 trillion. So our GDP, $20 trillion. That's a big flipping economy, man, compared with an increase of 4.2% in 2017. So current dollar GDP, 5.2% to $20 trillion. That's a big, big economy. The price index for GDP, gross domestic purchases, increased 2.2% in 2018. All right, that's not what I want to talk about, though. I mean, that's great. Look, that's good stuff. And I'll never forget back in the day, the old monetarist economists and people on the right always said we can grow our way out of the deficit. I don't know why they've turned on Trump now. These same people who used to be Bruce Bartlett, and there's another guy I was reading about, I forgot, but they've turned on Trump, and now it's no longer we can grow our way out of Bruce Bartlett, right? And we can't grow I don't know if it's Paul Gigot, but anyway, some of these guys were the right-wing political economists, that in Wall Street Journal, things of that nature. They always said we could grow our way out of deficits and out of debt. And now Trump is doing it, and they're essentially saying, "Oh, we can't do that. We're going to back up the economy." It's weird. The animus towards Trump just is odd to me, especially from people on the right who heretofore used to be pretty elaborate in saying growth will minimize deficit spending. Now, we're not getting growth at 2.2. I mean, that's a tepid growth in 2017. I mean, we can't have that. We got to get 3%. But if we get 3% on average on a 20 trillion economy, we're going to be just fine. Don't forget, the Social Security stuff is based on an unemployment rate of about 5.5%. And for the bulk of this century so far, we've had unemployment well below that. Well below that. Right now, it's about 4%. In the old days, when I studied economics, they used to have this thing called, and I'm sure they still do, the Phillips curve, which said full employment was at 5%, and once you got below 5% full employment, inflation could take off like a bat out of hell. It just does not happen. And so anyway, the old days of the economic cycles, economic models it's just silly, man. So if you had full unemployment or full employment of 5% unemployment, and now it's 4%, we'd have mass inflation, and it's not true. It's not true, but yet we still follow these models. But I still believe with a $20 trillion economy, if we can get that puppy growing at 3% a year, we're not going to have to worry about Social Security funding, Medicare funding, the deficit spending. We're just not, because we're going to be growing the economy at such just an incredible increase. 3% on a $100 economy is a whole lot different than 3% on $20 trillion. And as we sit here today, without question, the U.S. is still the number one game in town. There's no other way around that. It's not China. It's not the EU. It's the good old-fashioned U.S. So seeing all those exports kind of makes me chuckle a little bit because everyone said manufacturing and whatnot was going the way of the dodo bird. Domestic oil production is gone and all that stuff. And under Obama, I mean, I give him credit. But anyway, one thing I did want to point to, though, disposable personal income increased by $218 billion, my friends, or 5.7% in the fourth quarter, compared with an increase of $160 billion, or 4.2% in the third. Disposable personal income was up 5.7% year over year, on top of a 4.2% year over year. That's flipping huge, because remember what takes part, the biggest part of the GDP. Let's see if they show it on here. And I don't know if positive contributions from PCE, which is the consumer expenditures. Consumer expenditures are the huge thing when it comes to gross domestic product. And if our disposable personal income is growing by a clip of 5.7, man, look out! It's awesome. Personal savings was at $1.06 trillion in the fourth quarter, compared with less than $1 trillion in the third quarter, but still right at one spitting distance of $1 trillion. The personal savings rate as a percentage of disposable income was 6.7% in the fourth quarter, compared with 6.4% in the third. So we have huge growth in disposable personal income, and inherently we have huge growth in personal savings, because it's growing 6.7% in the fourth quarter of disposable personal income is going towards personal savings, which is on a 5.7 increase on disposable personal income. These are huge numbers, man. Huge. I don't know how people get so frightened by this. Let's see if anything else I want to read in this. During 2018, real GDP increased 3.1%. There you go. That's the 3.1%. Real GDP increased 3.1% compared with an increase of 2.5% in 2017. The price index for gross domestic purchases increased 2.1 compared with 1.9. The real GDP increased 3.1% in 2018. Now, again, we don't have the final numbers yet here. I keep going by it. Where was that? Hold on just a sec. Right here. Real GDP increased 2.9% from the 2017 annual level to the 2018 annual level. So again, we're looking at a 3% increase in GDP. All right. Just huge increasing in personal income, huge increasing in personal savings. You really got to be a negative Nelly to sit there and think it's doomsayer stuff out there, my friend. So, I mean, look, should you start lighting cigars with $100 bills? No. Should you start saying, something? I mean, look at this. This Obama. So you have 3%, negatives, and not good in quarter four of 2015, but nice in 2015, the beginning. We want to hit 3. 3 is what we're shooting for, and we got 3 in 2018 on the initial estimates. And I imagine it's going to change for the benefit. Well, we'll see with the government shutdown. I don't think it'd cause that much. But the GDP is based primarily on personal consumptions, all right, personal consumer expenditures, PCE. And if right there it says the increase in real GDP in the fourth quarter reflected positive contributions on personal consumption expenditures, and personal consumption expenditures are going to grow, or they're going to be less than when you have disposable income growing at a 5.7 clip. Something to think about. Be positive, my friends. We'll see you next time.